Staab and Les Jackson.
Control.
Everything you need to know about new and used cars.
Control.
Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air.
Control.
Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin.
Lose control.
Because you're on cruise control. Cruise control. Cruise control.
Hey everybody, welcome to Cruise Control. This is your on-air automotive magazine, and as you know, because you're longtime listeners, you know us. I'm Les Jackson. That guy over there with the huge pile of papers is Fred Staab, and as usual, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about from the auto industry. Well, why would we talk about anything else, right?
Is there
Fred?
anything else to talk about? I don't know.
I think so.
No. Well, Les, you're right. We are getting started this hour, and it's an interesting week. There's been a lot of reveals, a lot of new vehicles announced, and I'm sure you're upset, but the Carolina Squat has been banned, outlawed. We'll explain that, won't we? We've talked about it before on the show, but we will explain what it is in further detail. But we're going to start out with a sedan story. It's a good and a bad story. The good is, well, the story of two sedans. One is getting ready to retire for good.
Right.
And the other goes all hybrid and will fill the need.
Absolutely. We're hanging on for sedans here. And Ram shows off the RHO performance pickup with a six-pack under the hood.
Yeah, it's
not supposed to have one in the cabin with you.
No open containers. That's for sure.
That's right.
But we'll kick this one around. No more Hemi, no more TRX Hellcat engine, but a six-pack under the hood. So we're going to tell you about Honda has plans for U.S.-made EVs. They are retooling to bring production of a three-row SUV electric to the U.S.
Wow, yes, and GM and Ford's profits are based on the internal combustion engine. Remember that?
I remember it.
It's not going away soon.
No, and it is going to play a major role in them being profitable. So we'll talk about that and kick it around. And then, hey, we call this segment Jeep Honesty. Jeep says, hey, you know what? It was a bad idea to drop the Jeep Cherokee from the Jeep lineup. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. And, they took themselves out of a whole segment of SUVs, and probably wasn't a great idea, but refreshing, wouldn't you say, Les, for an executive to say that?
It is refreshing, and it's going to reappear real soon, and the person responsible will probably be selling used cars in some obscure town.
Okay. Les has got a prediction.
And the big thing is the Carolina Squat is outlawed, and of course...
Sounds like something you do in the woods, doesn't it? But
we'll
tell you more later.
Yes.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson here with you. And as always, we've got a lot to talk about, Les, including a story of two sedans. And the first one is the story of a vehicle that's going away. Last year of production for the Subaru Legacy. The reason? Well, sales are just abysmal. And SUVs. People want SUVs and crossovers. They really don't want the Legacy sedan, which is a shame. I sense a deal. That's what I do if you really wanted to get one. How about you?
Well, it is It is the same as the Crosstrek, basically,
Yeah, yeah. When you think about it,
except that it just doesn't look like the Crosstrek. And it's a very, very well proven sedan. But if people aren't buying sedans, then if you're manufacturing them, then where are you going to get rid of them?
yeah. And
It's a tough problem.
I was helping someone with a sedan, with a Subaru purchase, and they said, "Well, I'd like the sedan." The dealer told them, "Don't bother. Nobody wants them, and you won't be able to sell it." They're thinking of it as a resale. They're thinking of it as this person's going to bring this in 3 years and trade it in, and I'm going to be stuck with it, which is really not the right way to go. If the person wants a sedan, you get them the sedan, but. It starts at less than $25,000 less, and that's a pretty good deal. And remember, it's all-wheel drive, right?
It's all-wheel drive. It's quiet. It's very reliable, and I'm going to be looking at one.
Yeah. Well, that's it's interesting that it will. By the way, there's no real updates for it in its final year of production, but the price is staying basically the same. Now, meanwhile, this week we got more information on another sedan, the Toyota Camry. And this has become an all-hybrid vehicle. Every one of them will be a hybrid. You can get all-wheel drive as well, 232 horsepower. It's got re-engineered suspension and braking system, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, safe exit alert, and it starts at $29,000, a little bit more than the Legacy, but it's a hybrid, and you're going to get incredible MPG. They say for the LE, which is the base model, LE front-wheel drive, 51 miles to the gallon. That's pretty incredible, isn't it?
That's incredible. And it is available now, right?
This is going to be available around this time of the year. Yes, they said late spring, so very soon.
You're not going to walk out of the dealership for certainly not less than $30,000. No,
probably not. I mean, although Toyota's base models are pretty well equipped. But, I don't think they really, if you want to buy one off the lot, they don't really bring in the base models, do they?
No.
So, full safety and convenience included pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, full speed range, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert with steering assist, lane tracing, road sign assist, automatic high beams, which I love on any vehicle. I was even driving their Toyota Corolla hybrid, and it had automatic high beams. I think that's great, don't you?
It is great. If every car had them, you wouldn't get highlighted by, let's say, non-aware oncoming drivers.
Yes. Well, just to do some pricing on the Toyota Camry, as I said, the LE front-wheel drive starts at a base price of $28,400. All these prices are before the $1,095 dealer processing and handling fee, and then you move up to the SE front-wheel drive at $30,000, the XLE front-wheel drive $33,000. The XSE front-wheel drive, which is top of the range, $34,006. Then you go into the all-wheel drives, which are available on all different grades of this model. And that ranges from the LE all-wheel drive at $29,925 to the XSE all-wheel drive, $36,125. And typically, I have found if you're looking at hybrids, they're typically around $35,000.
Right.
And if you want a plug-in hybrid, they go up to 40 or low 40s. So it's kind of not a bad deal when it comes to a hybrid that can get you some decent mileage, right?
Well, plus Toyota reliability. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a win-win.
All right. Well, when we come back, plenty more cruise control. We are just getting started. Stay tuned. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. We will be right back.
Cruise control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I are going to tell you all about the Ram RHO. Now that's the new Ram. If you were watching us on screen, you will see that it's very aggressive looking.
Oh, yeah.
It's their their entry into what typically the Raptor
Yeah.
has been.
This kind of replaces the TRX, which was the
Right.
Hellcat-powered
Right.
Ram.
And jacked up, plenty of power, 540 horsepower.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you, I have not driven one, but I can guarantee you, and I know Fred will agree, the ride is very smooth.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, but these extreme off-road trucks have very smooth rides because the suspension travels so much.
Yes, they absolutely do. I've driven in Raptors and thought this is one of the
Yep,
best riding trucks I've ever
it
had.
was terrific.
And there's a lot of
Absolutely terrific.
sidewall on the tires, too. There's a lot
Yeah.
of sidewall on the tires. So, um, yes, so this gets the new 3-liter Hurricane high output straight six turbo, or as they call it, the SST engine. 540 horsepower, 521 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds.
That's
That's a mighty big
wow.
truck to be going that fast, right?
It's hard to believe it can overcome its own inertia to do that, but
And those big
it
wheels.
does.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of contact patch, so you get grip.
Yep, you get grip. 0 to 60, I said 4.6, 0 to 100 in 11.7 seconds. And a quarter mile in 13.1 seconds at 105 miles an hour, which is
Th-
crazy for a big truck.
That's well, it's crazy for cars until recent years.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, back when we were dealing with 200 horsepower Corvettes, that would have been like the quarter mile time. And
Yeah.
this does not, aerodynamically, it's kind of brick-like, isn't it?
Well, it's not something I would ever think would do a quarter mile fast at all,
Yeah.
but it does. It's got 1,000 gears in it and all of that. But
Yeah.
it's just remarkable what you can do with torque.
Yeah. 8-speed automatic. It says here, ripped from the copy here. Transmission delivers quick, crisp gear changes during normal and performance driving. All right. Well, that's good.
Okay.
RHO is the name of it. It's also got Bilstein Blackhawk E2 adaptive performance shocks, dual function, electronic proportional valves, pressure activated triple rod seal on those shocks. Dana 60 axle with full floating axle shafts as standard equipment. It's got the good stuff, and I think this will be a hit. I just like him not
It
to put
will.
this sticker on the side. I was like that with the Raptor. The one I had was complete, just silver, and it didn't say anything on it.
Well, that's right. But of course, Dodge Ram has been doing this for decades. It goes back to 78 with the Lil Red Express.
Oh yeah,
And I actually knew somebody that had one. It was, I mean, it was very plain,
yeah.
very basic, but good performer.
I love those Dodge trucks that were so square and basic. Those Dodge pickup trucks that were, I mean, they were basically just They were a real work truck, and they were, they were square. And you opened the hood, and there was room to put anything under the hood. It was so wide.
Yeah.
it looked to be about 6 feet wide in there,
That's,
between the
that's
fender
right.
wells. I was like, wow, well, will it fit? Yeah, it will fit. But this thing is going to be popular. Will people miss the Hellcat engine, 707 horsepower? Yeah, probably. But
I don't know.
if you can move this machine that fast, the RHO will be a hit. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Will you miss the Hellcat V8 power, or will you be happy with the RHO 6-pack power and the ability to do a 13-second quarter mile in a big truck like this at breaking the century mark?
I think the first time you hit the accelerator, you're not going to miss anything.
No. So, and it's good for Dodge bringing this back. Dodge, you got me doing it now. Ram. I think people will forever do that. People still do that, and I know it drives our PR friends crazy when we do that. But yes, we were talking about Little Red Express. By the way, there's one in my neighborhood. The guy has it at a
Really?
gas station. I think he's restoring it. It seems all there, pretty much, from what I can tell. I haven't looked under the hood.
Well, yeah, there wasn't much to them, but
No, there wasn't much to them.
Yeah.
What would be cool with that, though, is to do a 440 swap into it. I think they came with a 360, and
Right.
and you call it the not so little red truck. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
That
they were. I wonder what the value of those things is.
I'm sure you can find them. They use side pipes that they stood straight up and down like stacks, which I thought was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. That was
cool.
that's how you knew what it was.
Yeah, good stuff, and yeah, I'm sure, like I say, maybe a big block in there, because you would certainly have room to fit it under that in that
The
truck.
guy that I knew that had one back in the 70s was actually a high-level assistant to a congressman, and it was very weird looking when he got into it with a three-piece suit
Yeah,
and perfectly coiffed hair and all. You just thought, man,
and he parked that in the congressional parking lot,
of course he
next
did.
to all
Of
the
course he
luxury
did.
cars, and there's those stacks sticking up above everything, right?
That's right.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, what's your opinion of this new Ram? Are you going to miss the Hellcat engine, the V8, or not? A lot of people are upset about it, but hey, times change. And
That's
over,
right. We don't have price for this.
no, we don't have price for this, and it was just released this week, so we
Yeah.
will we
Bring
will
a
get
big
more.
checkbook.
It does include also less dual wireless phone charging. That's kind of unique.
That's
It's a good
kind of
idea.
nice.
Yeah, I guess that I would estimate this price would be what, 60, 70?
I was thinking, somewhere in the 60 to 70. I wouldn't call it a ballpark. I would call it what would I call it?
A neighborhood.
Fort Knox.
Yeah. Gouging,
Anyway,
is gouging going to happen?
no, I don't. I'm not sure well, I think gouging will happen, but the base price itself, these days, I wouldn't call it gouging. It's
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah, it's just there. It's just there. All right. Well, coming up, we're going to talk about some more changes over at Honda. They are prepping to build electric vehicles in the U.S. Of course, they have their Honda Prologue that's coming out. That's being built in Japan
Right.
right now, but they're prepping to change over some of their plants to building EVs. The weird time for automakers continues. They have to move forward on all fronts because, that's what the auto industry is going to be. It's going to be all different
Yeah.
types of propulsion. So internal combustion, hybrids, and EVs. And of course, for the tax advantage, they're going to build and expand their plants in the U.S. So we're going to talk a little bit about that after the break. And just to counter that, this week GM and Ford were saying internal combustion engines will play a big role in their profitability for the near future and maybe beyond the near future. So we'll kick that idea around. And Jeep honesty, why they got rid of one of their models and why they're sorry they did. Plus your favorite story, the Carolina squat, when we come back.
Absolutely.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Let's talk a little bit about Honda and how they are changing what they're going to be building in the North American market and in the U.S. They're retooling their manufacturing plants in Ohio for future EV production. Out of all the major manufacturers, I know Toyota gets this rap, but Honda was really late to the game with EVs.
True.
They have the Prologue now, which is just about coming online. I haven't seen one yet, but they are planning to do a large SUV, 3-row, and they're going to build this in the U.S., and they're retooling their plants in Ohio for future EV production. So they qualify for the U.S. production of EVs and batteries to get those federal tax credits, right?
That's right. Now, in their defense, Fred, Honda was first with the, electrically speaking, with the fuel cell.
Mm-hmm.
Clarity. That was I drove one of those about 15 or 16 years ago.
Yep.
So, they know what they're doing. It's just that from a marketing standpoint, they for whatever reasons, they waited.
Yeah. And waiting on electric vehicles is not necessarily a bad thing. Everyone's saying,
No.
well, look at Toyota. They're doing hybrids. They've always been doing hybrids. They said hybrids were the best thing to go with right now, and it looks like the market is proving them right. But still, these manufacturers have to prepare for the 5 years out, 6 years out, right?
And that's a risky thing to do. How many of us know what's happening 5 or 6 years out? But they realize that eventually fuel for personal uses is going to be very, very short supply and real expensive. So got to change.
Yeah. So that's good news, and I think we will see them going for the federal. See, this is always my view on things. Use the carrot, don't use the stick. If you want them to build here, don't punish them and say, "Oh, you can't do this," or "You can't." There's some little insect that lives there, and you can't make a plant. Say, hey, if you build the things here and you have U.S. jobs. And, people will get a discount, and when they get a discount, they'll buy more of your products because they're getting the discount. And I like the carrot approach. How about you?
Well, I do too. And believe it or not, there really are people in the federal agencies that try to look at that as much as possible. But you know how it goes. At some point, you've got to look at the long-term consequences of what somebody is doing and how that's going to affect the food chain and any number of other things. So, but yes, the carrot is always much better than the stick.
Yeah.
And it always will be.
Well, not that it's a government agency, but I look at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. They made
Right.
safety, which was seen as a cost
Yep.
to manufacturers that they really didn't want to do because it wasn't sexy to sell. It wasn't interesting. It wasn't like, hey, we've got, 100 more horsepower than the next guy. They made safety a marketing tool where if you get this
Absolutely.
rating, more people are going to it's going to be mentioned by the salesperson, and someone's going to say, oh, it's safe. It's safer. It gets a 5-star
Yeah.
rating. So
It's a
I think that was one of the
big deal.
smartest things. That was an example of a carrot. Get the end result, which is safer cars, which is great. Nobody's saying it's not great, but get people excited about it and make it some way that they can monetize it. And they do
Yeah.
monetize it, and I think that's a great example of that.
As
You know,
soon as safety is a value added thing, people
right?
will flock to it.
Yeah.
It's
Say, hey, my
and
vehicle's
it
got
should
it, the
be.
other guy doesn't. So
Yeah. I
so
mean,
I.
why it should be. If you're
But hey, if
driving
this is the way they had to do it, that's fine too. Goal achieved, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we will upcoming in the next hour of cruise control. We will talk about how some of these small SUVs fared in the crash testing, and some of them didn't do that well. But that is coming up in the second hour of cruise control. Now, we were talking, and we always talk about how the future of the automotive industry, certainly for the next few years, is not just okay, all electric cars, switch 3-2-1 switch, but that the internal combustion engine in many forms will carry on. And that's what investors heard during the investors' meetings for General Motors and Ford. That basically internal combustion engine vehicles will be the profit drivers for the immediate future, right?
Very, very true. So, yeah. Um, what would you if you were working with one of these companies? What would you base your reputation on in terms of product?
Right now,
Uh,
I'd have every
right?
vehicle be a hybrid. Every
I
every
would too. I would too. Would you stick with SUVs, or would you think, these things may have a reckoning?
I don't know. I mean, I like that
Big,
you
big
share a
SUVs.
platform. You share a
Yeah,
platform that could do anything, which is neat. That
true.
I don't know if they'll have a reckoning. I don't know. I don't know. It's a
I
psychological
don't
thing.
either.
SUVs are a
Yeah,
psychological thing. They're not for off road because most people don't take them
that's
off
right.
road, although they could, but they don't. They are now because everyone has a vehicle that size. You don't want to be the guy in the car that can't see when he backs out because he's got a low car.
That's true.
Also, it seems like people are having to haul around more stuff. So they think they have to haul around more stuff. They might not
Yeah,
actually have to. But so
it's
I also think it came after 9/11, and
hmm
that people felt hey, I'm sitting up higher, I'm safer, I can ram through the traffic if I don't know. It seems that way to me. But it's become the standard thing to sit up that high. Um, so if you're
yeah,
not doing it, it's sort of like you're in a pit, right?
true. But I'm not doing it. Um,
Okay, and no, nobody says you have to. Um,
that's
in,
right.
interesting thing about GM, and they get accused of this a lot, that they say they build cars only for China and the U.S. is an afterthought. And I've had that feeling a little bit with GM, where they release things like they have a great Equinox plug-in hybrid that they're going to bring out
Right.
over there that gets 92 miles in the higher level, 92 miles of range, all electric range, and then it becomes a hybrid. And you would think, well, that's a great vehicle to bring out here. Well, it has to come out in China first, and that was brought up in the calls. How their share of the Chinese market has gone down. Last year, they delivered 2.1 million vehicles in China. That's down almost half from the 4.04 million they delivered in 2017.
That's a frightening difference,
And
business-wise.
can you even be an independent company over there? I don't think you can.
I don't think so. My impression is you can't, but
Yeah, but
I could be wrong.
But it seems like that was a big push to say that is the biggest car market, and I think some people have felt they ignored some of the like a vehicle like that Equinox hybrid should be right over here. It should be here already,
Yeah,
you know.
it should be.
But it's brought out in China, but then they sell it in China and no one buys it. You know, I mean, to lose half of your business in that short a period of time is not good. So, but what do you think? Does GM prioritize China, the Chinese market, over the U.S. market? Let us know in the comments. We'd like to hear from you. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. When we come back, we're going to tell you about Jeep saying they made a mistake by cutting out one of their popular vehicles, and also Les's favorite Carolina squat when we come back.
Yeah.
Cruise control.
And welcome back. Welcome back. We want to talk about Jeep. And by the way, we both love anyone or respect anyone who makes a mistake, takes responsibility for it, and says, I'll do something about it. And the folks at Jeep have admitted that they cut the Cherokee out of the mix, and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
And pretty instantly, they found it was a mistake.
Yeah.
So, good for them. I that's what you should do.
Yeah, CEO Antonio Filoso says he has big plans for the Toledo-based brand, but he says killing the Jeep hurt the brand because it took him out of that mid-size CUV section of the market, and he says he wishes he had something to go in there. But he has some new things coming up, like the electric Recon and Wagoneer S. The Wagoneer S will be a fully electric Wagoneer, and he says that will help profitability. Well, we'll see. He noted the automaker saw growth in the first quarter with sales increase of 3% in the U.S., which I'm sure is all from Wranglers and Gladiators.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they can't build enough of them.
Yeah. I always liked the Cherokee. I thought it was a good size. It was a little bit smaller than the Grand Cherokee, and it was quite capable in the Trailhawk. Mode or Trailhawk model. But, the other thing I think, and I don't know what it cost them, is remember they brought out the Jeep Wagoneer and they wanted to make that their own brand, like a separate luxury brand.
Right.
And that idea lasted about 6 months.
Right. The Grand Wagoneer. And that was.
Yeah, I mean, they still make them. They're just not selling them as another brand. They weren't making a sub-brand with it. And I think I don't think it did anything for them. I don't know what it cost them money-wise. Sometimes these things cost a lot of money. To change the name of a vehicle can cost like $70 million, which it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right.
But Ford went through that. It's like, wow, there's a way to waste some money, isn't it?
Boy, yeah. I remember way back when Esso changed to Exxon,
Yeah.
And this is the early 70s, and I remember it was $16 million to change the name.
I wonder
And
why they did it.
just think about that. It's
It's a little bit
phenomenal.
phenomenal. Yes, it is. It is. So, um, we'll see. We'll see where the Jeep brand goes. But hey, let's talk a little bit about Mini. Mini is bringing out, and we're not sure if this is going to come to the U.S. or not yet. They're bringing out the Aceman, which is, well, how could I describe it? It's sort of like a small SUV.
Yeah.
It is all electric, and I'll read this again because I like reading this copy. It's
That's
packed
right.
with
Well,
truly
it's
enjoyable, immersive digital experience.
there we are.
Huh.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. With an expressive crossover with compact proportions.
How else could you describe it?
It's the best way
But
I know.
the fact is, yeah. So it's yeah, it has 5 seats. And interesting, the load volume is 300 liters. When is the last time somebody has given a load volume of liters?
So 300 1-liter bottles of soda.
Right.
That's a lot, actually.
Actually, it is a lot.
And it's a two-box design, I should say. A two-box design, not a two-door design.
Yep.
They always variations on a theme. I mean, do you think they can just keep going with this?
I think so. And I love their design description. It's called charismatic simplicity. Now, you got to give them credit for it.
Yeah. Imagine someone saying, well, how would you describe him? I'd say as charismatic simplicity.
Yeah, yeah. Delightfully ordinary.
Is that like a guy that washes paper towels and reuses them? Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me rinse out these paper towels and hang them out to dry.
It still has some use left in it.
There are 4 individual equipment options. Wow. Okay, all 4. In essential trim, the interior is designed with maximum clarity and reduction of equipment details. I love that.
I want to meet the person that wrote this.
Yes, this is like the same person that writes, this is a wonderful, this is a commuter's dream close to the railroad,
yes,
and the railroad tracks are in your backyard, right?
This person is a true optimist.
Yes.
I want to meet him or her.
Then there's the favored trim. Also telling about the Mini Aceman. The favored trim features a strikingly expressive design. The dashboard comes in elegant dark petrol.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But I love it. I have to say that again. Reduction of equipment details. That's a very British way of saying you'll have a lot of blank off plates because there's a lot of not very well equipped.
Yeah.
Well,
I just love it.
I know this is upsetting, but the Carolina Squat has been banned. The Carolina Squat, the easiest way to picture this is if you bought a lift kit for your full-size pickup truck, and you only installed it on the front suspension and just threw the kit for the back suspension away and left the back at the normal ride height, which means your headlights are pointing skyward as if they were landing lights on a runway.
Yeah, and it looks like you're landing on a carrier with a high angle of attack.
A high angle of attack.
You can't see 400 feet down the road because you're looking at a high angle of attack. Mm-hmm. And it's basically what I would describe as an idiotic thing to do.
Yeah. And it's dangerous because there have been many accidents where people are driving along. They don't see the car in front of them. They're in a full-size pickup with a squared-off hood already, and now their vehicle is way up in the air. They don't see it, and they drive right into them, and the vehicle goes under the pickup truck. So the Carolina squat ban is now in effect. Fines start at $100 for the first offense. Second offense costs $200. Third offense costs $300 and leads to a 1-year suspension of your driver's license. That's the one that gets people.
Yep.
That's heavy. That's heavy. To lose your driving privileges for 1 year. To me, that is a big punishment.
Well, you're being reckless.
Yeah.
So you should lose them for a year.
Yeah.
And after that, if you do it again, you should lose the truck.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking the truck and we're going to scrap it.
Yeah. It's interesting. In the article, they said, well, lifted trucks were once banned and now they're being sold from the factory. And they said maybe this will be.
They're
at
engineered.
And you can see out of them. You're not pointing the headlight. There's headlight violations. You can't run your headlights like that either. So Carolina squat. Don't do it or lose your license. We appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.